You're watching Football Daily, and this is our all-time iconic Captain's 11. Players who went above and beyond to serve club or country while donning the armband. Goalkeeper, Oliver Kahn. In between the sticks is legendary German goalkeeper Oliver Kahn. Instantly identifiable with his shock of blonde hair, Kahn, or the Titan as he later became known, endeared himself to the Bavarian faithful with his fearless displays and commanding personality. He was even known to turn on his own teammates if they didn't meet his exceedingly high standards, as attacking midfielder Andy Herzog quickly found out. Memorable moments for Kahn include dragging an average German side to the 2002 World Cup final, earning the Golden Ball for the tournament's best player in the process, the first keeper to do so. Centre-back, Franco Baresi. The first of our back three is Milan and Italy legend Franco Baresi. This one-club man was the linchpin of a Rossoneri team that won 3 European Cups and 6 Serie A titles. After being rejected as a youth by Inter, he made his Milan debut at 17, and 5 years later he was appointed captain at the tender age of 22. Despite winning a host of major honours during his lengthy tenure, Baresi would twice find himself playing in Serie B following various match-fixing scandals. Fortunately for Milan, Il Capitano always remained to pick up the pieces. Centre-back, Tony Adams. At the heart of our defence is Mr. Arsenal himself, Tony Adams, who captained the Gooners for 14 trophy-laden seasons. Adams made his debut at 17 and was given the armband by then-manager George Graham at 21, a role he wouldn't relinquish until his retirement more than 600 appearances later. Flanked by defenders who like to get forward, we thought Adams' defensive mindset would give this team a sense of balance. And get this, he's the only player in English football history to captain a league-winning side in 3 different decades. Centre-back, Franz Beckenbauer. Completing our defensive trio is a man known best as the Kaiser. Not many players are credited with creating their own position, but this is exactly what Beckenbauer did during his first season as Bayern captain in the 1968-69 season. It was coined the Libero, and it provided the foundation on which the Bavarians built their domestic and European success in the early 1970s. As captain of the national team, Beckenbauer would lead his team to the 1972 European Championships, as well as the 1974 World Cup, where he was famously pitted against another one of our starting 11. Defensive midfield, Roy Keane. Alex Ferguson recently left the snarling Irishman out of a list of players he considered world-class whilst managing at United. But ask yourself this, how many trophies would the Scot have won without his midfield general? The Champions League victory in 99-2000 is a case in point, and it's hard to see how that famous win would have taken place had it not been for Keane's steely composure and hypnotic passing against Juventus in the semis. Keane would go on to captain the club for 8 of the 12 years he was at Old Trafford, where his fearlessness and outspoken nature would inspire feverish devotion and bitter hatred alike. Right midfield, Steven Gerrard. In 2003, Monsieur Houllier gave a young Stevie G the armband over seasoned pros such as Sami Hyypiä and Jamie Carragher. Gerrard has since said he didn't feel ready at the time, but it proved a wise move, as the inspirational midfielder drove his team to the Champions League title 2 years later. Unlike others in our starting 11, Captain Fantastic frequently had to line up with players well below his standard. For every Alonso, there was a Bruno Cheroux, for every Torres, an Andriy Voronin. And although this questionable recruitment policy nearly pushed the Scouser over the edge in 2004, he remained captain for another 10 years, scoring 120 Premier League goals in the process. Left midfield, Johan Cruyff. Johan Cruyff has more than his fair share of accolades, and he can claim to have rejuvenated an entire city when he moved to Barcelona in 1973, rejecting Real Madrid in the process. Fresh from 3 successive European Cup triumphs with the indomitable Ajax side of the early 70s, the Flying Dutchman transformed a Barca team who hadn't won the league in 14 years into champions during his first season, giving the Blaugrana and their fans a renewed sense of pride and optimism. As well as an illustrious club career as captain, Cruyff led Rinus Michel's mythical Dutch side, famed for their total football philosophy, to the 1974 World Cup final. And even though the Orangi were defeated by Beckenbauer's West Germany, the team lives long in the memory of football purists. Attacking midfield, Francesco Totti. Sometimes being a great captain isn't about collecting the most silverware, it's about displaying an unwavering sense of loyalty in the face of constant disappointment. Totti, finishing runner-up an astonishing 6 times in Serie A, is no stranger to this sentiment. The quintessential trequartista has racked up an impressive 700 appearances for the Giallorossi, representing them as captain for no less than 14 consecutive seasons as he continues to play well into his late 30s. Ironically, the man they call the Golden Boy has had his fair share of controversial moments, but his longevity and commitment has seen him become the bedrock on which Roma's modern-day identity is built. When asked about the possibility of Francesco Totti leaving, Luciano Spalletti once remarked, "It would be easier to move the Colosseum out of Rome." Striker, Raul. At the tip of our front three is the incredible Raul. El Ferrari spent 16 goal-laden years in the Spanish capital, serving as the Real Madrid club captain between 2003 and 2010 and securing 11 major honours in the process. Upon his departure, he held the record for both appearances and goals at the Bernabeu, with only a certain Mr. Ronaldo passing the latter record in 2015. During his lengthy playing career at Los Blancos, the iconic striker served under an astounding 15 different coaches, and despite this destructive hire-and-fire culture, his form never wavered and he continued to lead from the front. True captain material. Striker, Diego Maradona. In 1986, the little magician captained Argentina to World Cup success in what is generally regarded as one of the greatest individual displays in the format's history, scoring or assisting a quite frankly ridiculous 10 out of Argentina's 14 tournament goals. However, his greatest impact as captain arguably came during his 7-year stay at Napoli. Much like Cruyff, Maradona's presence lifted the entire city, prompting the local newspaper to say that despite the lack of a mayor, houses, schools, buses, employment and sanitation, none of this matters because we have Maradona. Led by the mercurial number 10, the Little Donkeys managed to wrestle the title from the central and northern powerhouses, the first time a team from south of the Italian peninsula had done so. Striker, Alessandro Del Piero. On the left of our front three is Juve's all-time goalscorer and appearance maker Alessandro Del Piero. The dynamic forward spent 11 years as captain at the Old Lady, including a season in Serie B following the Calciopoli scandal in 2006. Whilst many of his teammates moved on during this dark period in the club's history, Del Piero stayed, captaining the Bianconeri back to the top echelon of Italian football. Asked why he didn't leave by journalists at the time, Del Piero simply responded, "A true gentleman never leaves his lady." On our bench we've gone for Iker Casillas as Kahn's understudy, Paolo Maldini, Billy McNeil and Bobby Moore offering defensive cover at the back, Fernando Hierro for his ability to step into the midfield, and Alan Shearer as a surefire source of last-gasp winners.
So, no Puyol and no Cafu. Who else have we missed out? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, check out our all-time Brazilian 11. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe.